Okay, this is Chapter 2, hands-on exercise number 2. In hands-on exercise number 1, we looked at relative cell references when we wrote formulas for column D, and we looked at absolute cell references when we looked at writing the formulas for column F and column H. We also looked at making a mistake, which we called a circular reference, and how to fix that when we looked at the values in column I. Now we're going to do some basic statistical functions, like things like sum and average, median, min, max, and count. And we're also going to work with two date functions. One's called today and one's called year. So let's start right away. We're going to come over here to cell B16, and we're going to look at this writing a formula for house cost. Now, if you know the formula that you need to write, you could write it right in the cell itself. But if you're a little unsure of which formula you need to use or what that function might look like, we can come over here to the FX button and click on Insert Function. We know in this case we're going to use the sum function, so I'll type in sum, I'll click Go in the search engine, and when it has found a few that might match the function I'm looking for, I'll go ahead and select sum. And it says, what values do you want to sum? Right now it's going to add up B8, the colon is up, kind of like through B15. Well, I want it to add up B8 through B12, which are these 5 house costs. So I'm going to go in and change that to B8 to B12. So now I've written one formula that shows me the sum of these 5 values, which are in house cost. Let's do the same thing with average. I'll go to Insert Function, I'll click on Average, or I'll search for average, and hit Go. And then I'll select average from the list. It says, which are the numbers you'd like to average? Well, I want to do B8 through B12 again. And I'll hit Enter. This next one is called median. I'll search for that. And median gives you the middle value from a list of rank ordered values. So over here, if we look at house cost, the highest house cost is $400,000. The next one is $350,000. The next one is $329,000, $265,000, and $175,000. So we would expect the answer to be $329,750. It's the third value if we ranked ordered all the house costs, the third of 5. So where do we want the median? Well, B8 through B12, and then hit OK, and again we got the answer we expected. The lowest house cost is going to be a min, the highest is going to be a max, and the number of mortgages is going to be a count. So we're going to do those next. Go ahead and hit min and hit Go, and then select min. Again, our range is B8 through B12, and the minimum house cost is $175,500. The max is next. We'll hit Go, and then select the function max, and we'll do B8 through B12 again. Finally, we're going to do a count. Count is used to see the number of cells in a range that have numeric values. We're expecting it to say 5 because we have 5 numeric values in our range. Let's do count. Hit Go. OK. And we're going to do B8 through B12. Now, just quickly, I want to show you a little bit about count. Count is used when there's numeric values. So if I put a text value in this cell right here, notice that it changes from 5 mortgages to 4 mortgages because it's looking in B8 through B12 and it's only finding 4 numbers. Okay. Now, I can use a different function called count A, and count A is like count all, and it's counting every cell in that range that has a value, whether it's numeric or text. And this time when I use the count A function, or count all, because there are 5 values, I will get the number 5. Now it doesn't count blanks. So if I went clear all in this particular cell, now it says 4 because in our range there's 1 blank and 4 cells that have values. And that's the difference between count and count A. I'm going to go ahead and put 400,000 back in that cell, and I'm going to put the formatting back in just as it was, and our formula is back to saying there are 5 mortgages. Now, a very handy way for us to do the functions for columns C and D is to use autofill. And when I drag these over, I now get the down payment, or the total of the down payments and the total of the amount financed. And I'm going to do the same thing. We use autofill for the rest of the down payment column and the rest of the amount financed column. So we're making real good progress on this particular worksheet. All we have left is the payoff year and today's date. If we hit insert function again, I can type today, or I can go to the date and time functions and scroll down to today. Today returns the current date formatted as a date. I'll click OK, and it says returns the current date formatted as a date. This function takes no arguments. Okay, and today's date, as the date I'm recording, is May 31st, 2016. If I close this file, save it and close it, open it up tomorrow, it will say June 1st, 2016. It gives you today's date. All right, the final thing that we're going to do in this particular worksheet is payoff year, and we're going to use the year function. Now, if we have a date like this, it's made up of the month, which is May, or 5, the day, which is 1, or the first of the month, and the year, which is 2011. We can strip out a month, we can strip out a day, or strip out a year from this particular date using the month function, the day function, or the year function. So let's go into our insert function, and I've selected date and time functions, and I'm going to click on year. Year returns the year of a date in an integer format. Well, I want it to strip the year out of the date in J8. So my serial number is going to be J8. And there it is. It says 2011 as our output, and if I used autofill, it gives us the corresponding date from column J. What we get is the years. We get the corresponding years from the date in column J. Okay. Now, this isn't the payoff year. This is the year of the date financed. What I need to do to get the payoff year is to add the number of years of the loan. Okay, so in this one, I'm going to add to that cell G8. And then I'm going to use the autofill. But before I do, notice that it has put this in date format. We actually need it to say general format to give us the payoff year. When I use autofill and drag that formula down, now what I get is the year from the date in column J plus the number of years of the mortgage. So now we have 2036 all the way to 2043. So once again, we did some basic statistical functions like sum, average, median, min, max, and count, or count A. And then we did some basic date functions like today and year. And that's hands-on exercise number 2 of chapter 2.